everyone, I'm Megan with the I Believe podcast, and today we have a returning favorite guest. We have Anna Clow here. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Megan. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming back. I'm so excited to have this conversation because it is something that I personally struggle with, and I think probably a lot of you do too. So, Anna is going to help us navigate this tricky issue here. So, Anna, tell them what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so today we thought it'd be a really great idea to follow up on our conversation from last time of we talked about the big rocks. We talked about health and fitness and what is going to be best in terms of the changes that you want to make. But this time we're going to talk a little bit more on the mindset, the psychology, the self-sabotage, the behavior change that might come up along the way, and really how to navigate these different things. Because at the end of the day, I always say, as a coach, I can write you the most perfect plan that we're going to get you absolutely incredible results. But being able to do it, show up, that's a whole different beast that it definitely takes intention and it takes expertise to help someone be able to navigate through that. And I saw this very early on in my career is I actually on my own health and fitness journey, I was like, okay, I'm doing all this studying. I know what to do. Why am I struggling so much to do it? And so that's what really sparked my curiosity and my passion for learning about the science behind mindset, the science behind behavior change. And I went so far as to go through multiple certifications when it comes to health, behavior change, and mindset. And not, the woo-woo mindset type thing, but actual mindset science of how we can apply this to clients, how we can help guide clients through the change process. And so I'm really excited to talk with you guys today about just maybe you set a New Year's resolution. Maybe you set some goals at the beginning of this year. And today, as of the day that we're recording, it's April 1st. So we are entering quarter 2 of the year. So it's a really great time to sort of check in with yourself. Where are you at with what you might have set a few months ago? And if you have maybe fallen off or just gotten to a point where you're not exactly, things didn't go exactly as you wanted to, I think this episode will be super, super valuable for you.
I agree. And as someone who is starting over on day one, April 1st, not January 1st, I can be right there with you that I had some goals for the beginning of the year, as I do every year and multiple times throughout the year, and I didn't stick to any of them. So here I am in April, pretty much in the same place I was in January, ready to start again. So this is a great episode for me.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, this will be, I think, absolutely incredible because so many of us go through this, and I've gone through this so many of times myself, you don't even know. But I've been able to come to a place where I'm no longer in that yo-yo starting, I'm all in or I'm all off, and like truly feel that the behavior changes have stuck. I've found a way to learn I think of it as like mental skills of a bit of like mental flexibility and learning how to sort of navigate, all right, how can we be the best with our sticking to our goals, but not letting that lead to I'm all or nothing or the screw it's, So yeah, my first thing I'll start off with is when you are setting goals, when you are wanting to make a change, it is super easy in that moment you're so motivated, you've got all these, high dopamine chemicals going on in your brain saying, we can make this crazy change, and then that leads you to change your actions 180. Maybe you go throw out everything in your kitchen that you feel like isn't aligned with what you want to be eating, or you say, oh, I'm not working out now, but I'm gonna start working out 5 days a week, right? Or we just try and go sort of 180, whereas there's a very delicate balance with, like, I'll give the example of when I start working with a client. I want to obviously do everything the best way that's going to really produce the best results, but it can't be something that's going to be too much for the psychology of a client. But also, aside from the psychology of things, you actually don't need to do everything 180. What you actually need to do is make changes that are going to provide a certain stimulus to your body that's going to get us going in the direction that you want to go, whether that's fat loss, whether that's health goals, whether that's muscle gain, whatever it is I actually don't want to go all the way there. I don't want to 180 everything, because that's a fast track to plateauing and not really having anywhere to move. I'd much rather, maybe if you're not working out now, we start you working out twice a week. And if we're doing things the right way, we can see incredible changes from that. Versus, okay, we're working out 5 days a week, maybe you're burning out, maybe we're get to a point where you're not seeing progress, and then it's sort of like what we have to do then is actually pull back to be able to reset your body, versus having, something in our tool belt of we can add a third session, right, and keep you progressing that way. So that's just a little nice side note. But coming back to the psychology of change, is as enticing as it is to want to 180 your entire life, I want you to really try your best to think about the habits and the behaviors that you want to change, and go through each of them and truly sit there and envision them in your day-to-day life. What challenges are going to come up? What is your schedule like? If you want to start walking 10K steps a day, and right now you only do 2,000 steps a day, and you have a very sedentary job, very busy schedule, you go, I'm going to hit 10K every day. Awesome, but how is that going to happen? So we need to really, when we're setting these goals, truly visualize our future self. Is that actually something that I can do? And then if it is, how am I going to implement that specifically? Get very, very specific. Okay, I'm going to be able to walk on my lunch break or do X, Y, or Z. So it's something that needs to really work for your life, but also something that's not going to feel like super overwhelming for you, right? It's okay to challenge yourself. It's great to challenge yourself, but not something that's going to feel like you do it for a few days and you're like, gosh, I'm such a failure. I can never do this and I'm going to fall off. And it becomes this whole like mental drama spiral. So
yeah. I'm the queen of doing that. I am the person who throws everything out of my fridge and works out like crazy, and I'm no fun to be around, or I'm completely off the rails and I'm super fun to be around, but then all of a sudden my pants don't fit. So I waffle between the two, and I feel like finding that balance in the middle, I never feel like that's enough. Which is a horrible mindset. Like, I'm so glad you're here to help us, because when I'm in the middle, I feel like I'm not doing anything enough. So I think saying that that's actually not just okay, that's good, that's definitely something that I could remind myself.
Absolutely. I have a client who she's been training with me for since like last August or so. She's like 30 pounds down and she's very motivated to keep making some great changes. She's like, maybe I can speed it up a little bit and I can work out a fourth day on my own. And I tell her, I'm like, no, actually, I don't want you to do that. And she's like, what? Why?
Castle Biosciences is a proud sponsor of this I Believe podcast. Castle's innovative uveal melanoma tests provide valuable information about the risk of your eye cancer spreading to help you and your healthcare team individualize the management of your disease. To learn more, visit castlebiosciences.com.
You know, there's different things with overtaxing your body, stressing out your body too much. It's just not a good idea. And we can also stress out our body too much if we're trying to go into too severe of a calorie deficit. So we want to actually make sure that everything we're doing is going to be that proper stimulus to move us forward, but not be too crazy much. And that's always what I see as like the power of having external guidance, because I'm the same way. I'm human. If I were to be writing my own nutrition plan, I'd be like overthinking it and, is it working? I don't feel like it's working. Or, we're just so close to ourselves that it's easy to get emotional. It's easy to overthink everything. And so like, I always joke, I'm like, with me being a coach for over 5 years at this point, I'm like, I always like to have my own coach. Like, I rarely go without having my own coach being able to guide me, because it's so valuable having that like external, just someone who's like, all right, no, like let's stick to the plan. Don't let this mental spiral happen. And so that is the first step, is the awareness. If you feel like this is you, is in that moment, all right, I'm having these thoughts, I'm having these feelings, I'm aware of it. Now I get to maybe surf this feeling, meaning like you feel it, but you don't necessarily act on it. And you start to say, okay, what does What does the version of myself who lives a healthy lifestyle, who values their health, values their fitness overall, what do they do when they're feeling demotivated? What does the version of me who's leaned into consistency, not perfection, but consistency, what sort of behaviors do they do, right? Maybe that version of you is able to enjoy a night out with friends, being able to, maybe indulge in some things that you normally might not, but also doing that and maybe not gorging yourself like you would have before if you had that all or nothing mindset. And then being able to have the just regulation to get back to things the next day. Like, all right, now next choice. I always have a new opportunity to make a choice that's aligned with my health. And I think that's a really great step to sort of overcoming the on the wagon, off the wagon, which can sort of be just a reflection of all or nothing thinking. So we want to just see how can we start to diffuse that all or nothing thinking, the very black and white, and just remember that consistency is what we're going for. And consistency is not synonymous with perfection. I had one of the first coach I ever hired 5 years ago. She said that to me because I was freaking out. I missed some of my macro goals a few days and I was like, gosh, I'm not consistent enough. And she goes, Anna, you have been so consistent. You don't, this is crazy. It doesn't mean that we don't need to be perfect. And that to me was like, wow, it was just this light bulb moment that I feel has been able to bring me forward through everything that I do. It's okay to not be perfect. Doesn't mean you're failing. It means that maybe you're human and that we're not, meant to be robots. So that is really where I would start with all or nothing thinking and saying, all right, maybe I can't get an hour workout in today. Maybe I can do 30 minutes. Right? And to the perfectionist, high achiever brain, that is so uncomfortable. We're like, no, it has to be perfect. It has to be, exactly how I want it to be. But really just starting to do that when you need to is, all right, maybe I can't have it be perfect today. What could better look like?
I love that thought. And actually, I saw a reel the other day where they were kind of acting out the mindset of, if you mess up a little, you just go off the rails. And she was pouring water and she spilled a little bit and she goes, oh, well, and just dumps the jug out on the counter. And it was such a light bulb moment of, oh yeah, that extra really does matter. Just because you go off the rails a little bit, then to be like, oh, it doesn't matter, I already messed up today. No, it still does. So that was kind of cool to see that demonstrated like that.
Yes, and it also highlights just how silly the all or nothing thinking can be because if you've got one of your tires slashed, are you going to go slash the other three? No. But when it comes to your health and fitness, it's like, why do we do that, right? So just kind of thinking about it that way can really help you realize, yeah, that's actually kind of silly. And then I gave an example to this. I was at this exercise or this gym that I was giving a nutrition presentation to, and I gave the example, if you forget your kid at school, if you forget to pick them up, are you just going to say screw it and not pick them up at all? And then one of the moms goes, yeah, I'm not going to. Everyone was dying laughing. But anyways, that's just, another example of how it's so silly. And it's like, why do we do that when it comes to our nutrition or our health? And just remembering that, at the core of everything, trying to shift your identity, trying to shift your values. That's really the key is, okay, maybe in the past, I have been someone who can be very on and off and da-da-da. But creating your 2.0 identity of, okay, I'm the kind of person who is consistent with my health behaviors. And so when you do go off track, right, instead of it being, gosh, such a failure, I always off the wagon and da-da-da, right? It just reinforces that identity. Instead, you've, stepped into maybe a new identity. And when you do go off track in that instance, you go, okay, yeah, that's not aligned with who I am. That's not aligned with what I want to do. I'm going to make a different choice moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. It's so important, and it seems like such a simple thing, but yet it's not like our first nature, or I guess second nature. What you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I totally know what you mean. And
Aura Biosciences is a clinical stage biotechnology company focused on developing precision therapies for solid tumors that aim to preserve organ function. Our lead candidate, Belsar, is currently in late stage development for primary choroidal melanoma and in early stage development in other ocular oncology indications and bladder cancer. Our mission is to grow as an innovative global oncology company that positively transforms the lives of patients. For more information, please visit us at aurabiosciences.com.
with like the certifications that I've gone through, it was really cool because it not only taught me how to help clients, guide clients through this sort of stuff, it also was something that sort of called out the health coach's mindset of, your mindset about, your client and their ability to make progress and all of that. But yeah, just also like how you can better speak about things to clients, how we can, not create a fixed mindset with different things, which fixed mindset basically just means you don't believe that you can change or that you can be successful. You don't believe in your abilities. And a growth mindset is, okay, I believe in my ability to change. I believe in my ability to be successful. And unfortunately, a lot of the speak that you hear online or just from maybe like a random trainer is going to be like, you just got to be more disciplined and you're not doing enough, and all that sort of good stuff, or that bad stuff. But just really working with coaches myself who've been, not that way, who don't just leave it at, oh, you got to be more disciplined. It's really helped me be able to bring up my own challenges of, I've gone through phases of struggling with emotional eating, struggling with just, all the issues with health behavior change, and being able to bring that, be honest, to, a coach who's not going to be like, oh, you're just not trying hard enough. It's like, no, there's so much more to that conversation. And if someone were to just leave it at that, it would totally like turn someone off from health and fitness. And unfortunately, I see that so much, is there's just these negative connotations in the health and fitness industry. So yeah, my biggest tip is, at the core of everything, make sure that you're really doing the work on your identity. As wild as like meta as that sounds, think about the different things that you believe about yourself, and knowing that those are all stories, and that you have the power to believe whatever story you want to believe. And whatever story you write, whatever story you believe about yourself, is what you're going to keep reinforcing in the world. That's just kind of how our human brain likes to do things. If you're like, oh, I'm not a gym person. It's like, well, do you want to be a gym person? Okay, then maybe start trying to embody some of those things. Start like playing pretend in a way. And then all of a sudden one day you go, okay, this is who I am.
Definitely. And I think like whenever I am on a good workout schedule, you kind of hit that addiction where you're like, oh, I really love doing this. And then as soon as you get out of it, you lose that. And then it's really hard to go back again. But I mean, I think if you do go and start, you will hit that. And I mean, it only takes, I don't know, maybe like less than a month probably before you kind of hit that like, ooh, I really love this and need to do this, versus, oh, this is torture.
Yes, that's so true. It takes time to sort of halfway enjoy exercise. And I like to tell people, with me being in the fitness world, health world for like 10 years at this point, it is something where I still have a ton of resistance to working out. I still like don't always enjoy it. It's a hard thing, and we get better from hard things. And so definitely overall, make sure to meet yourself where you're at. Make sure to do that work on your mindset of trying to overcome some of that all or nothing thinking, and really sort of thinking down to the identity level of who do you want to be, and starting to think of how would that person think, how would that person behave, how would that person respond to this XYZ situation, and starting your best to just start stepping into that.
I love that. And that's such a more healthy mindset to do than just to beat yourself up for every little thing that's not perfect. Because I think we've all done that. We've all been there. And why can't I do it as good as that person? Instead of that, say, what is that person doing? Maybe I could do a few of those things. So I love that approach. I think that's perfect.
Amazing. Well, this was such a great conversation. I think it was like short, punchy, packed with a ton of value, and I'm excited to get this to your listeners.
Absolutely. So thank you, Anna, so much for being here with us for a second time. I loved this conversation, and I'm going to try really hard to find my balance and not be all or nothing crazy like I normally do, because it clearly doesn't work. So I'm going to try to be more balanced. So if you're watching, let us know in the comments, do you find balance easy or do you struggle with it like I do? Let us know. And thank you for being here and watching. You guys mean everything to us. We couldn't do this podcast without our viewers, so please subscribe. We are almost to 1,000 YouTube subscribers, which is a very big deal. It's been our goal for about a year. So please hit subscribe on YouTube. We're also on Podbean, Spotify, Apple, and anywhere else you get a podcast. Please subscribe there if that's where you're listening. And follow our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, I think everything. Let me know if you find one we're not on. And extra big thank you to all of our sponsors. This podcast would not be able to function without our sponsors. So go check out their socials, give them a follow, and tell them you're happy with this podcast. If you love it, let them know so that they keep sponsoring us. And then we can keep bringing you this free education. And until next time, we'll see you later.